Good evening, I'm Oral Gibbes, and welcome to Oral Gibbes Live. I have a surprise for you this evening. For the first time on Oral Gibbes Live, there's a gentleman known many years, businessman, had business also here on the Dutch side. He's from the other side of the island, the French side, and he's a politician. He's an independent member of the Council on the French Empire, right?
Yes.
So how are you doing, sir?
Good evening, all. I'm well, thanks. An independent councillor, territorial councillor.
So
yes.
It's good to have you.
I'm doing great, thanks. Thank you very much for the invitation.
You're welcome.
Yes. Pleasure
How long have you
being
been in
here.
politics, though?
Well, you know, I've been in and out of politics. I began in 1977. The late Dr. Hubert Petit, that was mayor for 18 years, and so in 1977 he was contesting election for, I think it was the 4th time, and it was every 6 years, and he wanted some young blood, you know, some young St. Martiners to be part of his list, and that's where I was introduced for the first time in politics. But you know, I did not stay long in politics over there because I was, at the same time, in 1977, I was aspiring to extend my business on the Dutch side, and that happened in 1982. So once I began, I opened my branch over here on the Dutch side of my business. I realized that my business needed me. And so I decided to leave politics for a while and focus on my business. That's why I said in and out. And I came back in 2001, left again, and then I came back in 2012.
Okay, so since then you've been the independent territorial councillor?
2012, actually, I was calling for unity from 2007. The political group that is actually heading the government on the French side right now, which is known as RRR, Rassemblement, Responsabilité, Réussite. That was a group that the name and everything was, I was like the architect behind that, and that was in 2007, where I decided to contact every politician on the French side that ever ran for office to come together so that we can face our new status together as one block. And it didn't go the way I wanted to see it go, but it happened. And in 2012, I wanted to do the same thing because it didn't work well, and there were 2 young gentlemen that I thought I could bring together, which was Mr. Daniel Gibbes and Mr. Alan Richardson. And in order for me to do that, I saw an opportunity that Mr. Gibbes gave me to be on his list, not really wanting to be against Alan Richardson or RRR, because that's a party that I put together, but it was more like to force them to work together. And when we got elected, I realized that that will not happen, and that both of them, to me, were not working with the spirit, or in the spirit of which I was thinking. And I just decided to not be with any one of them and to become independent. And that happened in September 2012. I became independent in the council.
So now, how many independent members are there in the council right now?
Well, just one.
Just you?
Yeah, there are 23 of us, and I'm the only. Actually, it made history because that's the first time that. Well, it's still a young collectivité. You know, we are 9 years into this new status, but I'm the first one that has declared to be independent. Yeah.
Now, for people who are watching this program, and you know, we have this whole ship jumping issue on the Dutch side. When you declare independent, is that different than what you're experiencing here in Dutch St. Martin in terms of ship jumping?
Of course it's different because I did not join Mr. Gibbes' party. That's a different thing. Mr. Gibbes asked me to contest election with him or to join him on his list. And I could not do so based, as I said, the fact that I was the one that put together the party that he wanted to run against. I mean, there were several other parties. One of the parties was a party that I founded. And so I could not join his party. So I made an agreement with him. There was called it a sort of alliance with conditions.
Oh, okay.
And some of those conditions were broken. Therefore, I had all reasons to quit and to remain independent, but I never joined the party as such. That would be ship jumping.
All right.
Yeah.
So I assume it should be very difficult being there as an independent territorial councillor,
Yes.
all alone, and it's difficult to get anything passed, right?
Yes, it's very difficult. Less now because for the past year or so, I have a group with me, a group of persons that came together with me and formed a new political party. But I would say from 2012 up to 2015, it was pretty tough. True, a lot of things that you would propose as a solo, to speak like that, would not be accepted, or just not, because of politics. They would not want to give you the honor or the glory according to them. It would be giving you glory.
Yeah.
And therefore, I have proposed so many things.
Even at the expense of the country.
Absolutely. There's one thing that I can say that they did accept to do, which was to put in place a committee to take care of the domain land.
Okay.
You see, there's a huge problem on our side, on the French side, when it comes to domain land. Many families that can't get a title for the land that they are living on. And I had about 2 years screaming, calling for the creation of such committee. And finally, it happened in 2013. So that is something that I can say I have at least, I was successful in getting them to put in place.
I want to come back to that, but I want to ask you about your new party, Hope.
Yes. Okay. Hope Party was created. We got together in March 2015. It was about 5 of us. And then we worked behind the scenes for about 13 months. And today we are 22 members. We launched the party officially on May the 30th, 2016. There was an official launch with a ceremony and a press conference, actually, at the Chamber of Commerce on the northern side. And that was very successful. Today, since that, we are going in different villages. We are meeting with the persons, or I would say the people living in those villages. We are organizing town hall meetings, and people are very, very happy because we have a whole different approach, which is to listen, to go in those villages and listen to the people, but not just listen. We are some of their dalliances, most of what they're complaining about and stuff like that, the problems that we see that they're having in those villages, we are taking the solutions and making them part of our program. So it's like their input is helping us to elaborate our program, and that has not been done before on that side of the island.
And so you're going to be heading the Hope list?
Yeah, for now we haven't put together our list. It's just we are like on a membership drive. So 22 founding members, but there are a lot of members almost on a daily basis that are coming in. And before the end of the year, we will put together a list to present to the population. And there will be, again, at that moment, another press conference that will be organized so that the entire island can be aware of the list that we are presenting and who the persons are that will be on that list.
And I had MP Daniel Gibbes in the program recently, and I asked him about the whole issue of domain land.
Yeah.
And that's a huge problem for many people on the French side.
It is, yeah.
And he was telling me that after sometime in the early 1970s, when the French government started the whole domain land registration here, the problems developed where people had no documentation of the property.
Yeah.
So what's happening now? Because are there still many people that can't get a title to the property?
Yeah, there are still a lot of families and single persons that are living on domain land and without a title. However, since 2007, it should have been much easier for those persons. By now, by 2016, every person and every family in that situation should have a title. Why? Because since 2007, it is no more the state of France that takes care of that problem and decides who will get a document or not, or what price they will sell it for. It is now the local government. So local government has the rights to set the price. If they want to set it at 10 euro square meter, they can. 5 euro, whatever they want to do with it, they can do it. And they also can decide to speed it up, to say, okay, within 1 year we should solve these problems. Everyone should have a title. They have that power now.
Delaying them.
Well, it's a matter of political will. That's what I'm noticing. You cannot have, let's say, I think it was more than 1,500 files as far as the domain land is concerned, and have one person taking care of those 1,500 files and doing other things. And whenever that person gets time, then they would, look at some files. Just to give you an example, within 13 months, there were only 58 files handled in 13 months. So we still have hundreds of files sitting there from 2004, some of them from 2002. And today, and that was when the state was in charge. Today, it is unacceptable that the process is going so slow, and the political will is not there to solve the problem in order for those persons and families to get their titles. That has to change.
And you think once after elections next year, if you do well, you'll speed up that process?
Well, it is one of the I would say, the topics that I'm defending strongly in the council. As I said, there was no committee created since 2007. I think there was one actually created, but it was just a shell, never worked. And 2012, whenever a new president comes in and whenever a new administration takes over, all the committees and so have to be changed. And 2012, when Mr. Richardson came in, it took them, that administration, 2 years to put in place a new committee to take care of the domain land. And that is because I was putting pressure all by myself, screaming and telling them, hey, you have to put something in place, put this committee, create this committee so we can take care of this problem. And of course, it's very political. It's about, hey, if we do it, it will give him the glory, that kind of thing. A lot of that goes on. But finally, they did it in 2013. And today, though, even though it's being created, it's not functioning. There should be like monthly meetings or every 3 months or whatever, and there's one meeting per year, for instance. So there's not a serious will to solve the problem. Yes, if Hope Party gets in power, we will make that issue a priority, and within 1 year, we would guarantee that all the domain problems will be solved, because it is in the hands, in the power of the local authorities. The local government has the power to handle whatever issue is there about domain land. They can handle it,
so you'll be handling
as they want. Yeah,
you'll be handling average 110, 15, 20 cases a month.
Well, there are no more 1,500. They have treated from 2012 to today 200 and something, 250 something files. So there could be an average of 1,200 or something like that. So and hopefully by the end of this year there will be some more. So yeah, I would say at least 100 files, 150 files per month.
Can you explain to my viewers on this side of the island that issue of that court case that was lost as you took against the state of France, and it's a lot of money.
Yes, it's 100 million euros at stake. It was more technical question. It was more technical than anything else. You see, the collectivity took the state of France to court because the state was delaying the process, like, okay, should we pay that or shouldn't we pay? And the collectivity decided to take it to a higher court to say, okay, is it constitutional the way they have calculated the money that is due to us? Because what happened is that with the new status, France was supposed to give us a certain amount of money. And after the calculation, they decided, oh, we don't have to give you any money. You owe us money. And
sounds familiar, though.
Yeah, so what happened is, like, today, as we speak, the collectivity, they do it on a yearly basis, but on a daily basis, they should be paying back to the state money. It comes up to about 675,000 euro per year. So it was mostly a question of asking the Constitutional Council, is this constitutional? The way that it was calculated, is it constitutional? And they have answered and said, yes, it is. And by doing that, the state of France now finds itself in a position where it can say, well, you know what? We're not paying you that because it is constitutional, you see. However, it is in conflict with certain articles of our organic law. Therefore, the president has decided to continue to fight the battle in the administrative court, which will happen. And that will take much more time, but the battle is not lost. The question was asked and an answer was given. But based on the organic law, there are still a lot of monies. Maybe that we're not going to get 100 million, but we can get quite a bit, maybe half of that, or 40, 30 million or whatever from that money that is still due to us in different ways. So, but the battle has to go on in a court, and that can take many years. You know how things go in a court. You know, back and forth. So it can go on for 5 years, 10 years. Who knows? Yeah.
You know, you hear so many people speak about education, and on the French side, many of the youngsters are having issues with the language, etc. What are the real problems from your point of view?
Well, you see, the organic law, the state of France is considering that our English should be served to, for a kid on the northern side, to better his or her French. They don't want to recognize English as our mother tongue. And it is a fact, but they're denying it. So they're treating it, they're saying that French is our mother tongue, and the English should be used in order to better your French. And it should be the other way around, you see. They have to acknowledge that it is the English that is our mother tongue. Therefore, we should maybe improve the English in order to go into the French. That's what, so we should have English at an early stage in school, kindergarten, the other school, and then the other class and the other class. Now, they have decided on an experimental basis to introduce English in some classes. That is since 2 years now. And they have realized that, hey, it works. We do have better results. So, and that they had to, I mean, it took them quite a while to do that. So today, they're realizing their mistake, but who knows if they're going to really admit to themselves and say, okay, you know, we really should continue to do it and put it on a wider basis. We don't know, but that's what should happen.
The last few days has been quite negative for the French side in terms of crime.
Yeah.
There've been a number of murders.
Yeah.
What are the authorities saying about that?
Okay. I don't see the authorities. Well, first of all, when it comes to crime and security, it is the higher authorities. It is the state. Okay, state of France, and I think they, in their mind, solving crime and delinquents on that side of the island is about bringing more gendarmes and more gendarmes. And they probably by now realizing the more they bring gendarmes, the more we see violence, and it is a fact.
Why is that?
So, well, it's because they're focusing on the wrong things. Of course, they're bringing more gendarmes, but what are they doing? You would see 10, 12, 14 gendarmes in one corner of a street, stopping cars, controlling. And whereas maybe you could have 3 or 4 of them doing that, and the others maybe focusing on going looking for criminals or drug pushers or whatever, going in those areas where they should really go. Yet they don't do that. And also, it is not about the amount of gendarmes. It's more about trying to find out what's the cause of that and go to the source of it. They're not making those studies, you see. There's a reason why those young fellows hang out on the block and do nothing, because they have nothing to do. There's no jobs. There's a high percentage of unemployment. And those are the areas that we should go into and see how we can solve those problems, instead of just bringing more and more gendarmes and oppress the population. We should go more into prevention, and that's part of the problem.
That's a quite strong word you use there, oppress.
Yes. The youngsters feel like that. They feel like that because there's on a daily basis there are a lot of arrests. Those young guys on motorbikes, they're harassed on a daily basis. Instead of maybe trying to understand them and see what can be done because some of them don't really want to be hanging out like that. They really want to have a job. They want to occupy themselves, but the opportunity is not given to them. So I'm just saying, maybe the answer is not to just be seeking them out and arresting them, taking the bikes from them, doing, there could be some other things, and I'm sure there are other ways to go about it.
I was told by someone who's pretty knowledgeable and connected with the force on the French side that the gendarmes are instructed to really don't do much, don't get involved, try to avoid going into the different neighborhoods and causing problems or looking for people. They're only there to react. So if something happened, they'll go in, but they try to, as much as possible, to avoid having any real physical contact with the people to, in effect, to add to the word you used just a while ago, that they don't want that. And so therefore, that's why they're only seen on the roads where they stop them, but they're not really aggressively pursuing criminals on a daily basis.
Well, part of that could be true, because for sure, at least their boss, which is the prefect, she's the ultimate boss. They have their chief, but the prefect is the boss over all of them, the chief included. I think this lady, she tries her best to avoid confrontation between gendarmes and the population. We saw that happen, and French cul-de-sac, French Quarter actually, not French cul-de-sac. It began in French cul-de-sac, but in French Quarter, where a gendarme used tear gas, that was back in February, I think it was, 2016. Yeah. And then there were barricades on the roads, and they came by force trying to dismantle. And when they got to the last barricade, there was quite a bit of them, young persons with rocks and guns. they were armed, and they stood up, and there was a confrontation, and the prefect gave order to back off, just leave the barricade, forget it, back off. And I think that was a wise decision, because of course our young people would be killed, but there would be gendarmes too that would be killed, because it was arm against arm. And I think that was a wise decision. So she tries her best, I would say, I give her that, to avoid confrontation. And yes.
But you see how things are going to slowly escalate if it continues the way it is, because if you have a territory like this case, the French side, and the way the policing is being done, where gendarmes are brought in, but they're told to let's leave those Antillians alone, only if there's a problem you can.
It was not in that spirit, no. It was at the moment there, they realized, hey, we're going to kill a few, but some of us are going to die too, to diffuse that situation. But the next day, they had a different approach, and they were successful in dismantling everything and bringing back peace. They did not just decide to just leave them alone, they'll do what they want. No, that didn't happen. It was just a strategy for the moment.
But what do you think? What do you think is the main problem? What are the underlying problems on French St. Martin, where there's so much hatred by young people towards the authorities, in this case, gendarmes and so forth?
Well, I can't say for sure, Oral, but for what I'm understanding and what I'm perceiving, okay, because I pay close attention and I speak to some of those young persons that are just hanging around and so, because it's good to hear them out. And they feel totally disconnected from everything. They feel that no one pays attention to them. They feel that, their lives mean nothing to anyone. And therefore, their reaction to that is to behave the way they behave, you see. So that's why I'm saying that more effort should be given, should be made towards finding solutions, bringing solutions to their problems. What are the problems, and bring solutions to those problems instead of just repression.
Is it safe to say that there's a parallel here between youngsters in St. Martin in the Caribbean and, say, in America, are we saying?
Yes, and in France. In France, actually, we heard it from several ministers, the radicalization that we see going on with French citizens becoming radical and killing people. They themselves admitting that it is because those youngsters feel disconnected. Same way. So, yeah, there is a parallel.
Many years ago, I told someone when the first HLM was built in French St. Martin, I told them, all problems are going to increase.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, you saw right, because those HLMs are a big part of the problem. It is only since they have built more and more of those things that we see the violence becoming more and more the delinquents that exist just in those, around those places. It all emanates from there. So, yeah, you were right.
And, there's nothing scientific about it per se, although sociologists and psychologists study it all the time. You go to America, huge cities, same problem. You dump people in these huge urban development, supported by government, and you create a breeding ground for crime, and people don't care about anything.
Yeah, it's maybe that's why you saw it coming, because you just knew that what happened in other cities.
Yeah, I've been in America. I studied in America.
That's it. Well, you're so right. And today, wherever you have those places, okay, there in French Quarter, you have most of them there. And maybe that's why in those areas you have more of it. But wherever you have those buildings, you have that situation.
As a St. Martin, we are independent people. We like to have our own home, our own yard.
Correct.
And now what you're having is people being crowded into these areas, and
Yep,
So-
yep. That's exactly, and that is what you're talking about is disappearing. You actually, there's no more ambition to do things like that anymore because a kid that is born today, his father, his mother have been living in those places, so there's no example for him to want to own a house or like how you talk. So they think HLM also, you see. So the tradition is disappearing, that type of tradition.
You're watching Oral Gibbs Live. We're coming to you live here from World Star Studios at Amsterdam Shopping Center, and we're here speaking with Mr. Jules Charville. He is an independent territorial councilor in St. Martin. He's also leader of a new political party called Hope. We have a Hope party here in the Dutch side.
Yes.
But you was before, right?
Yes, our party was created before, and we were pretty surprised to learn that there was also a Hope party on this side of the island. I'm not aware of the persons. I don't know who they are, but yeah. Interesting.
Okay. 5422100 is our telephone number, 5422170. We have a question or comment from my guest here this evening. As a businessman that has had business on both sides of this island, what has been your experience in business? Where's the easiest of both sides to do business?
Off the top like that, southern side, Dutch side.
Yeah.
Oh yes, by far. And that's what's happening. Most of the closures that we are seeing today on the French side, in other words, you would drive through Marogot there today, you pass through tomorrow. What you saw today may be different tomorrow because an extra store maybe would be closed. And the reason for that is the social charges. You see, they're very high, social security, pension, all those things. They're very, very high. That's one. And then the fact that also there are no incentives to, I would say, revitalize business. The opposite is happening. Instead of giving the businesses a break, they stopped for a while, but there was a time where there was the local government was bringing more taxes on the businesses that were already suffering. So therefore, they were strangling, and they couldn't breathe, and some of them just ran out of business, bankrupt. And those that were close to bankruptcy, instead of waiting to be bankrupt, they have left. So it is much easier to do business on this side, from my experience for sure. And I can tell you that I started in 1976. That was the year that I started in business on the French side. I opened my branch over here in 1982. That was on Back Street, Plaza 21. Then in 1988 on Front Street. Well, I can tell you it was like moving from day to night, or from night to day, because there was a total difference. Number one, it was much easier for me to just open a business here. It was easier. The business itself, I would say the turnover was much higher. And the salaries also lower. That's the next thing too. You got the minimum wage on the French side is almost twice the amount of the minimum wage on the Dutch side.
Yeah, what's it today on the French side?
It's like 1,200 and something euros. Mm-hmm. Over here it's like what, $800 or something?
Yeah, 1,300 gives.
Yeah, okay, good. Let's say $700. So you see, it's almost double. And so when you have to pay 2 employees, you see the difference. Paying 2 employees on the Dutch side and 2 employees on the French side. So that should answer your question.
I see a lot of business moving from the French side to the Dutch side in the last 2 years.
Yes. And then, on top of all what I just said, you have the security problem. They don't feel secure. I have a friend that I haven't seen for quite some time. I maybe like 20 years, but he's a doctor, and we haven't seen each other for a long time. And I saw him the other day, and he said, listen, you know, you have to help us do something about security. He said, all my friends, they're closing because of security. He said, after 4:30 in the afternoon, they have to run. They have to close down because they're afraid to stay after 5 because of
all those gendarmes that they have in France and
Well, he complained about that. What he said, yes, that there are big numbers that are announced, and they know that probably they're somewhere, but you don't see them. That was what he said to me. And he specifically spoke about the local police. You know, we have gendarmes and we have local police.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what we see now and again, we see the local police driving along in their cars, but we don't see them patrolling. And if you just see them, or those that want to do bad things, it would be dissuasive, you know, just seeing them. But the presence alone would be something, but they're not to be seen. So so he was explaining to me that his concern also was that. So that's to tell you that on top of the economical side of it, you have also the security. And that is it's a pity, because Margot, after 5:30, so it becomes like a ghost town.
You know,
and it's unfortunate.
You know, it's also St. Martin, French side. It's a small island, and a number of gendarmes have been killed on French St. Martin.
No, don't say it like that. There were, I think, 2 gendarmes that got killed over the years, and
not 3.
I don't know about the third one. There was one. It was a motorbike accident.
There was one going back many years in a bank robbery.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
About 3. For a small island, that's a lot.
Yes, but the motorbike one was, you know, it was careless of the gendarme. He actually put himself in front of the motorbike. The guy did not even see him, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, he's out of jail. They didn't keep him too long, because they realized he was a young fella, and he was coming so fast he did not see the gendarme. So, yeah, that's it too, that got killed for other reasons. Yes, it's still too much. But I think they have that under control. They are making sure that they stay out of harm's way. And that's why I explained to you that the events in French Quarter a few months ago, when the prefect asked them to back away, it was to avoid exactly that. They don't want one gendarme to get killed again, you see.
Yeah.
So they are trying to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And I personally, and I guess I'm sure the population would not want to see that, whether gendarme or our own youngsters getting killed, you know.
There was a young lady visiting St. that was brutally raped and killed. And the person, the alleged perpetrator, is sent to Guadeloupe. And the next day, he's found dead in his cell.
Yes.
And the crime that was committed is a horrible crime.
Horrible.
But then at the same time, you're in the custody of the state. They're supposed to protect you.
Yes.
And that didn't happen.
No, and it's unfortunate. I'm demanding currently answers to those things. It is not normal. As horrible as the crime might have been, do you know that this gentleman, this youngster that got killed in jail, did not have his day in court? There was no, I wouldn't say no evidence entered in a court against him and for him to be condemned. That was about to happen, the case. They were building the case, and he was supposed to come in front of a judge. So when it's like that, and even if you're condemned, once you're in the custody of the justice system, you have to be protected. And what is surprising to all of us is that this gentleman left St. Martin in their custody the Thursday afternoon, and the Friday morning he was dead in a cell. It is reported today in a French newspaper, that they first put him in a cell, I think with 2 persons, and they began to beat him up instantly. So they took him out, and they put him in a cell where there were 7 individuals. But what they're saying is that those 7 individuals, prisoners, are all from St. Martin, and it is reported in that paper that what they do in the prison, they try to put them by communities. So if you got 6 St. Martiners, you from St. Martin, they put you with the St. Martiners. However, by putting him there, so it amounts to 8. And they're telling you that the cell is supposed to have a maximum of 4. Yet there were 8. And knowing that this gentleman was supposed to be protected, and these guys, in the paper, it is reported that they're hard criminals. Why would you want to do that, whereas he's supposed to be protected? So there are answers that we need to have. It is said that the prosecutor has ordered an investigation, and he's not saying anything. He's not commenting for now. But for sure, answers have to come forward. This gentleman has a family. What you going to tell the family? There were pictures and a video taken while they were beating and killing the gentleman. That is on the internet, and that is horrible to look at. The question is, how did that happen? How have they been able to tape this thing and to take the pictures? There's a little explanation in that same paper today. It's strange that they got so many details. They're saying that, of course, the prisoner's not supposed to have mobile phones in the prison, but there are persons that throw the phones over the wall for them, etc., etc. And there are also details explaining how maybe it happened. There's a guard that is explaining in the paper, the head of the guard. He is saying that every 2 hours there's a round, they make a round, and it's only every 2 hours, and they have taken the advantage of that 2-hour span to kill the guy. But that's not the question. That's not the problem. Is why he was put there with them.
Yeah, you know, I've never gone to Guadeloupe and not seen 3 gendarmes on the plane with persons from St. Martin in their custody.
You have never seen 3?
I've never gone to Guadeloupe on the plane from St. Martin.
Yeah.
And not seen someone.
Oh, you mean that every time that you go?
Every time I go, there are 2 or 3 gendarmes at the back of the aircraft with a prisoner from St. Martin, and every time that prisoner is a young St. Martin.
Yes, actually it is reported, that same paper today, and I think you should get it, the St. Martin's Weeks of today, is reporting that in that prison there are 150 prisoners from St. Martin.
150?
In other words, most of the prisoners in that jail in Guadeloupe are from St. Martin.
Wow.
So now that explains why you would see every time you take a plane to go to Guadeloupe, you would see gendarmes with one of our youngsters. That's what's the jail in Guadeloupe is both of them actually. There's one in Basse-Terre, there's one in Bemao, and both of them are filled with St. Martiners.
Do you think we need a prison? Do you think we really need to build a prison in St. Martin?
We need a prison in St. Martin for the simple fact of what I just said. The fact that we have so many St. Martiners in the jail in Guadeloupe, therefore their parents, their friends, they have to buy an airline ticket to go to Guadeloupe, pay a hotel, etc.
But I've heard one of the councilors saying that that they're locking up St. Martin people. We don't need a prison. What we need is more schools.
Well, we need more schools as a fact, and we need, again, to work on the prevention so that they don't go into delinquents. But, as I said, for the simple fact that there are so many of them being here, they can have almost a daily visit by their families, and the families sometimes don't have the money to pay to Guadeloupe. However, the Minister of Justice just visited our island and has refused to build a new prison in St. Martin based on the fact that it is too expensive. That's what he said.
To operate or to build? Well,
to build. He said that it's going to cost 68 million euros, and it's a prison that would house about 80 prisoners, and that because of that it's too expensive, therefore they will not build a new prison. Now, that's a very, very I would say it's almost an insult to us. Why? Because it's due to us. Our new status gives us the rights. The Article 74 gives us the rights to a lot of stuff. High Court, Tribunal de Commerce, is a commerce, a court of commerce, a prison, a real chamber of commerce, by the way. We don't have a real chamber of commerce. No, we don't. Do you imagine? Just imagine for a while you have a business and you want a proof of registration and you have to send Guadeloupe for that. You can't get it here. Or you want to register your business, it's still done in Guadeloupe. And we're supposed to be autonomous, you know. And so there's so many things, and that's why a lot of people that you would hear talking about Article 74 is not good, and it's not Article 74 is not good, it's that the state of France is not giving us what is due to us. And I have to say it, we have leaders that are not fighting to make sure in order for this to happen. They're not fighting. The parliamentarians, our member of parliament, our senator, those are the ones that have to pound on the table. That same gentleman that came here and said no to us, right there and then they had to jump up and say, no, hey, sir, it is due to us. If it costs 100 million, it has to be built. No one said anything.
Because I asked parliamentarian MP Daniel Gibbes, and he said he supports it. He wants a prison.
Well, it was a defeat to him, political defeat, because he is the one championing the jail. Louis Musselton is the one that is saying, no, we don't need a jail. No, that shouldn't be a priority. I mean, they had a battle out in the news media, fine. But he is the one that they said no to. And this minister was supposed to be a minister that he's acquainted to, and he was like almost believing, he was almost ensuring himself that because of this minister, it will happen. And he came here to tell him no. But it shouldn't stay there. You know, you have to go back to the parliament and rally other MPs with you and make sure that they give us what is due to us by law, by our status. You know?
It's amazing because I know that some years ago, I wanted a birth paper of my grandmother, who is from the French side, and they told me I had to go to Guadeloupe.
Well, that nowadays, no, you can get that here now. But
and she was born at 18-something, and it's like they said, no, all the document is in Guadeloupe.
It's ridiculous to know the things. I'll give you a ridiculous example. There's a fire somewhere on the French side, lowlands or wherever, and you dial, I think it's 15, right, which is the fire department. Guadeloupe answers you, you know.
Really?
And then, you know, they would ask you sometime, but when you try to explain them where the fire is, and they don't know the place, so they ask you, where's that? Explain it. They don't know the names of the streets or anything. So that is ridiculous. But that there is the fault of the collectivity. Why? They're trying to save money. You see, they have signed, that's the way it used to be when it was a commune before 2007. They have signed a convention with Guadeloupe, with the fire department in Guadeloupe, so they can manage our fire department from there. Therefore, everything, although they're paying for everything, you know, they're paying the firemen, they're paying for the engines, they're paying for everything, but yet they're managing from Guadeloupe. So ambulance, same thing. You need an ambulance, Guadeloupe would answer you.
No, you can't.
Totally, yes. Well,
serious about that?
That happens today. If you call now, Guadeloupe will answer you. That has to stop.
Wow.
I can tell you, we will make sure that that stops.
You're watching Oral Gibbes Live. I'm here speaking with independent territorial councillor, Mr. Jules Charville. He is also leading a new political party in the upcoming elections in, is it March of 2017?
March 2017, yeah.
And it's called Hope.
Hope Party,
How do you feel about cooperation between both sides of the island?
Well, I would like to see more cooperation and better cooperation. I think the Treaty of Concordia of 1648 is more and more ignored. We seem to ignore sometimes of whether it's purposely or what, but forget that it exists actually. And free movement of good, of people, of whatever. And I blame mostly both states, the state of France and the state of Holland, the Kingdom of Holland, because I remember, and you can remember, Oral, whether in the 60s or the 70s, we really were living as if we were one people.
Yeah.
And today, there are so many things that we see change, yet the treaty is still valid. Nothing has changed, but they're making us believe that this is a foreign country. They even changed the name, as a matter of fact. Before, it was Saint Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N, French side, Dutch side. I remember that. Today, we have Saint Martin, Saint Martin. Then you would see by the frontier, welcome to Saint Martin. And mind you, you'll see, welcome to Bienvenue en Partie Française, to the French side, not Saint Martin, you see. So, and it is the state that did that.
Yeah.
The state purposely tried to make the new generation of Saint Martiners believe that our brothers and sisters from over here are foreigners, and sometimes they say they are our enemies when it comes to, they try to create a warfare. Yes, exactly. By the way, my mother is from over here. And yeah, and we have a lot of situations like that where the father's from over here, mother from, so we are one family. And why try to create that? And some of us fall in the trap. And therefore, some of us don't even want to do business over here. They try to say you have to support the French side, or if you come over here, this is going to happen. Over here, if you go on the French side, this is what's going to happen. And I hear some strange things spoken sometimes, and I have to intervene with people that I say, hey, you can't speak like that. These are our brothers and sisters. They're not our enemies. So by doing that, the cooperation is not like before, and it has to come back to the level that it used to be. I remember where it was no problem for someone living on the French side to work over here, and vice versa. Today, that's a whole, you have to go through all kind of procedures, even though it is proven that you were actually born on the French side and not imported, not someone come from somewhere else, but you born there. It's a problem. That has to change. But what I would like to see, I would like to see cooperation at, there was a time where French side was selling electricity to the Dutch side. Mr. Theo Heiliger, I remember last year in Parliament, at the time where us as territorial councillors were visiting the MPs over here, and he proposed, and it was a way of putting it back the way it used to be, since electricity is more expensive, the bills are more expensive on the Dutch side and on the French side. Why don't you on the French side sell us electricity and we sell you water? Yes. And because water is more expensive on the French side. Right. And that is cooperation, and it's giving a break to the people living on both sides. Your bill would go down here for electricity. Our bill on the other side would go down for water. That's unease. And I didn't see our leaders on the French side pick that up and follow up on it. That's what needed to happen. The garbage situation, we can have a common strategy, policy in place when it comes to garbage. Over here, there's a huge problem with garbage in the center of Phillipsburg, that mountain that is getting higher and higher. We having a problem on the northern side where we are running out of space. It's a land that was that is actually rented. The collectivity doesn't own that land. There's actually a problem between the owners and the collectivity with that land, and we don't know exactly how that's going to end up. So we need to come together and find a common solution, whether it's going to be one incinerator for both sides, common to both sides. So things like that I would like to see happen.
Well, Mr. Garvey, all the time, I have just 30 seconds in closing. Anything you'd like to add?
Well, it maybe would have to be a message about the violence that is going on, and the crimes the wave of crimes that we see most on the French side. It would be to say, hey, this is a time for us as a people to come together and to look out for each other and be more aware of what's going on around us, and see how we can curtail that situation. I think each of us has a role to play, and as responsible citizens. So let's all do what we're supposed to do, play our role.
Well, thank you for coming, and I hope you have you back again.
Sure, with pleasure, and thank you for the invitation one more time.
Thank you again, and much success with your new party, Hope.
Thank you, thank you.
And that's it for now. See you next time. Until then, good night, take care, bye.